What happens when we die? Is there an afterlife? Do we go to heaven? Or even worse, hell? Can we communicate with the dead? And if we can, should we? Let's find out.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 39 of San Pedro Paranormal, the Halloween episode. As you guys can see, I have my co-host back with me now, Carlos. Carlos back in studio.
Yeah.
Since I think, well, how many episodes has it been since we haven't been here?
It's like the beginning of the year, I believe.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I was telling you, we filmed more episodes streaming than actually me being here in the studio.
Yeah, you know what? I feel kind of strange having Carlos next to me now because I'm so used to just looking at the computer, or,
just think of it as an interview.
There. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, we're back and we're doing. Of course, we dressed up. Carlos more than myself, of course. Got the cool Chucky costume.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be like a zombie or some a ghetto zombie. Yeah. But anyways, welcome to the episode, Carlos.
All right, thanks. I'm happy
Carlos,
to be here.
How was the World Series?
Amazing. 32 years in the making. We won. We did it. LA Dodgers, baby. Of course, it will mean more if I wasn't wearing this.
Yeah.
I gotta have my Dodger.
Hey, you could have been like a zombie Dodger.
Hey, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. But anyways, today's guys, we're gonna be it's gonna be more of like a variety kind of show, like we've done before. I'm gonna actually be telling a story that I got from a guy that I met yesterday. I met him yesterday, and he told me this really cool story of a haunted house here in San Pedro. So I'm gonna be talking about that, and also we're gonna be discussing, talking about like what Halloween was when we were kids a little bit, and then Carlos got, he got some really good, some really good information. So anyways, why don't we start with, do you want to start with something you have, Carlos? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go for it. I have a little tidbits here, but we can start off and I'll fill in the blanks. Okay.
So you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, this story that I'm about to share, I was actually at a friend's house. Shout out to Vincent. That's the guy that I was at. The house of the guy I was at. But anyways, there was a guy working there doing some what do you call it when they remodel the kitchen and stuff? Well, he basically remodels rooms.
Yeah.
And they were cutting granite and doing countertops and stuff. But when I was about to leave this person's house, Vincent's house, this guy, he came up to us because he was gonna go take his lunch. And Vincent told him that I did some ghost hunting and stuff. So the guy Anthony, shout out to Anthony, he started talking about a house that he grew up in on I believe it was 26th and Denison. And this is for people that live here in San Pedro. This is a house next to the cemetery on I think the cemetery starts like on 23rd or 24th Street to 26th Street, and it's a really old cemetery. Usually, I mean, anybody could go there and take pictures and stuff.
That's the Harbor View Cemetery. Right?
Oh, okay, yeah, that one.
Yeah. Harbor View Cemetery.
Harbor View Cemetery.
Yeah, right on Grand Avenue.
Yeah. So he lived on the other side of it, on the 26th Street, and he said that the house, they lived at, the grandmother, I guess, she had a few surgeries. She had heart problems, so she had some heart surgery and stuff. And after this happened, once you have like a major surgery like that, they start giving you drugs, right, for painkillers and stuff. And the grandmother actually started saying that there was somebody in the house with them, right? So the family was kind of like, okay, it's the drugs. It's the drugs. She's hallucinating and stuff. So the thing is, she kept on saying this even after, like, when she wasn't on the drugs. She would say that there was a woman, an older woman with long white hair, and she was in a nightgown, like almost like pajamas, I guess. Mm-hmm. And you know, she would say this all the time, like, you know, she's here, she's in my room. So then she started saying that that lady was would go on top of her, like sit on top of her chest, and would hold her down and would be telling her to get out of the house. And the thing is, she said that the person, you know, the spirit wouldn't like talk. It wasn't like moving its mouth. It was like more telepathic. Like she could hear in her mind what the spirit was saying, like, you know, get out of my house. So again, you know, the by that time the family was kind of thinking, okay, she's getting really old, you know, she's tripping. She's tripping. So, you know, they kind of just ignored it. But then on one occasion, I guess she started, like, the grandmother was panicking and, you know, like really losing it. And she said that the lady was had been choking her. So they checked the grandmother's neck, and she did have red marks all over her neck. But by that, you know, like I said, by that time they were thinking that she was, you know, going a little crazy, and maybe she was doing it herself, kind of like, you know, squeezing her own neck. So anyways, the grandmother passes away. The time goes by, an uncle moves in, and this uncle, he starts staying in that room where the grandmother used to stay. And he starts having the same experiences. He starts seeing this woman, you know, dressed the same way with the long hair. But the thing is, the uncle had some drug problems, right? So the family, again, you know, when there's hauntings like this, it seems like people always try to find, you know, try to debunk everything.
Yeah.
So the uncle starts telling them, you know, there's this woman, she's telling me to get out. And so they're kind of like, okay, dude, like, you know, get off the stuff. Get off the stuff. So the thing is, he described it the same way, you know, with the long white hair, with the nightgown, and also the same thing, the telepathic thing, where like it's not talking to him, but like he could hear it in his mind. And the same thing of the lady sitting on top of his chest. So the family figured that maybe the uncle heard the stories they would talk about when the grandmother was alive, and that, you know, him doing the drugs, he was basically hallucinating the same thing the grandmother was. So they kind of, you know, ignored it. The uncle moves out because he's like, I can't stay here.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's too much. So time goes by, nothing happens. Like, and you know, that happens in a lot of hauntings where, like, it doesn't happen all the time. It'll happen in periods, and then it'll stop for a few years sometimes a year, sometimes more than a year. So a few years go by. This guy that told the story, Anthony, you know, they made the room, I guess, like a TV room where they just go and watch TV, like with a couch or something. And they're sitting in the room, him with his cousin, watching TV, and they see like how could I describe? Not a shadow person, but more of like a fog, almost like a smoky kind of you know,
misty
being, but it's shaped in the you know, it has a shape of a human, and they see this thing just walk across the front of the television, and they look at each other and they're like, you know, kind of like saying, did you see that? And they get up and they get out of the room. And when he mentioned this, it reminded me a lot of something that happened to my father-in-law, because the same thing happened to him. He was sitting in his living room with my brother-in-law, watching, I think they were watching a game or something, and they were sitting in front of the TV, and the same thing, they see this foggy, like a being go across in front of the TV. So that was kind of weird. So it kind of, you know, I believe it happened. So these, you know, Anthony and his cousin, they leave the room, and after that, I guess that was the last thing that happened. They end up selling the house. A new family moves in. They're not family with the new owners, but they do know who they are, like kind of like friends of family. So, you know, I guess some years go by again. He ends up meeting up with the person that lives in that house now. And the person tells him, like, hey dude, did you know that house that you used to live in is haunted? And he's all like, why? You know, he didn't even say anything. He just like, why do you say that? And he's all like, because there's an old lady there with a nightgown. But so it was crazy. You know, it kind of verified everything at that point. Like, okay, you know, my grandmother, my uncle, it was real.
There was enough evidence there.
Yeah, but the thing is, that new family actually did some research on the house because they wanted to know who this lady was. So they did some research. They end up finding who the owner was. They end up finding pictures of the owner, and it is the same person. You know, that older woman, and this was back in the 1920s.
Wow.
And she actually was somebody. He didn't tell me the name. He didn't remember the name of the lady, but that lady was somebody I guess important here in San Pedro. She owned a lot of properties in San Pedro, and that was her house. So.
Oh wow.
Pretty crazy story. I was like, and I told Anthony, I was like, dude, is it okay if I share this? You know, and you tell your name. He's like, yeah, you know. So shout out. I told him I was gonna give him a shout out. Shout out to Anthony. But yeah, good.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Another really cool story of San Pedro hauntings here. So
is that individual that owned all that land? Are they in the book that we talked about previous episodes?
You know what? I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. The thing is, there's so many haunted places here because he was telling me about all these other places that he's heard of. Not he hasn't lived in them, but he's heard of. And then he even knew all about the whole thing. How this was all Indian, what do you call it, like property and stuff, and how there's like Indian burials everywhere. So a lot of magic here in San Pedro.
Yeah, like we talked about the Native Americans and
the Native Americans.
You were saying the ocean.
The Native Americans
brings in a lot of spirits or so.
Yeah, the water. You know, being surrounded by water. You know, I think is one of the reasons why there's so much activity here. But yeah. Anyway, shout out Anthony. Thank you. Yeah, Carlos. So what did you? I know you were telling me that you watched the Halloween movies, right?
Oh yeah. I saw quite a bit of the Michael Myers movies, and I started with the original from 1979. And after watching it again, after so many years of not watching it, oh my God, it's such a good movie.
Oh yeah,
it's great for a movie that was recorded with such a small little budget. What was it, about $20,000 or around there?
I don't even know.
I think they paid. Well, Jamie Lee Curtis is the star of this film, and they only paid her about $4,000 or $8,000 around that mark. But this movie is amazing. It's pure genius, and just from the plot, how you're so involved in the neighborhood, and the cameras, the way they pan, tilt, and they pretty much follow Michael Myers on his little stalking adventure to go kill some babysitters. It's a beautifully shot and well edited movie with a great score by the director, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty nice. The movie starts off as a young child that it is Halloween night, and it's about the late 60s, and this child is going around, and he's actually, you don't know it's a child, right? You just see these eyes going around this person, going around this house, and he notices that this young lady is inside the house while this person's out, and this young lady inside has a young boy with her, possibly a boyfriend, and they kind of sneak upstairs, and this young person goes around that's outside, that sneaks in the house and goes to the kitchen, grabs a knife, starts walking upstairs, sees the clown mask, puts it on, and by this time that he's upstairs, the young man has already left, leaving the young girl upstairs, and he comes up to her while she's not looking and paying attention. She's combing her hair or doing something there on her dresser. He just starts attacking her with the knife, and she just says, "Michael!" And he just starts stabbing and stabbing. And the last scene of that intro is where you see a young Michael Myers outside with a dead stare, in a clown outfit with a bloody knife like this. And his parents are just like, "Michael, Michael, Michael." And that's the beginning of the serial killer.
That's right.
The slasher series.
Yeah, you know what? I remember watching part 2 in theaters. My parents took me to watch it. I think part 2. When did part 2 come out? Like 1980, 83 or something
around
like that.
The early 80s.
Yeah, and I remember. Yeah, I must have been like 7 or 8 years old, and it was scary. It scared me. But yeah, you know what? The whole thing with Michael Myers, because I know he's kind of like I mean, I don't get the whole thing of him like being able to like almost like he teleports. Does he teleport? He teleports, and then the whole like dying and coming back and dying and coming back. And I mean, did they ever do a backstory on like the kid? Like, was he like into the Ouija board or something?
Well, I mean, it's like the psychiatrist explains it. I'm just gonna say, but it's not the actual words. But he pretty much interviewed the psychiatrist, tried to help Michael Myers in the movies while he was in the ward, right? And he told him that this guy is soulless, pretty much. He helped him for the first 7 years, trying to bring his soul back or whatever, and help him to become better. But the next 8 years, he was just trying to prevent Michael Myers from escaping prison or the asylum because he was just long gone. He would look into his eyes and he just pretty much see nothing but a blank stare. That, you know, something to the way that it would be like the devil, looking into the devil's eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? It is cool the way they really don't, I guess, not explaining it makes it even cooler. You know, not explaining that he has that.
Yeah.
Either he has magical powers or something.
Yeah, going back to the whole teleport thing, like you said, that's the beauty of this film is that he can be anywhere at any time, and it's always unexpected, and they don't have to use fancy, you know, computer graphics or anything like that. Him sneaking around in underground tunnels or anything like that. It's just him behind a bush one moment, and next thing you know, you could be upstairs looking down the window, and he's right there looking at you from the clothesline.
Yeah. That would be funny if, like, behind the scenes you see him just like you know, just scampering real quick to the next victim.
Right. He's on a hoverboard trying to get across the city on the other side.
Yeah. I think that was one of the things of the film. Once I started watching more, you know, the other parts, you know, you start questioning, like, okay, like it's you have to kind of be open to like the fantasy part of it, you know, because it is a very it leaves a lot to the imagination, kind of like, okay, what's going on? Like, you know, does he have some kind of pact with the devil or something, or is he an alien?
and you're right about that, Tony. Is that you have to open yourself up to this movie. And what's nice about this movie versus the other ones that came along is that it's very easy to get yourself involved in this film because you fall into place very well because you're into the neighborhood, you're into the areas, you fall in love with Jamie Lee Curtis's character. And it's just something that you will say like, oh, this is fake. This is not. You just feel like you belong part of this little community. Yeah. And all of a sudden the slashing starts.
So we were talking also about also the mask. You said the mask came from it was like just a Halloween mask, right? Like it was during Halloween, so he just grabbed some random mask from.
Right.
So this mask could have ended up being anything, right? It could have been some president, like a Reagan mask, or
exactly. There's no really true origin except for the only origin they have in the original movie is that there's a break-in and that's at the local hardware store, and someone breaks in and steals a mask, several knives, and rope. And from then on, he just moves around and starts stalking. And it's funny because Michael Myers doesn't care. He's like he actually returns to the scene of his break-in and he's following these girls and so forth. And it's hilarious, but it's also like, wow, this is kind of like what a serial killer would do.
Yeah, and the mask, I know through the films, right? The mask changes, right? It's not always the same mask. There's always a little bit of difference. Some is like, I remember one of them, it's all like torn and like burnt and.
Right. I recently saw this 1970s version. Then I saw the Michael Myers reboots, or they redid the timeline, the 2018 Halloween. It's part 2 with a different timeline, but they call it Halloween as in the first one, so it throws people off a little bit.
Oh, I see.
And that mask is different. It's a little bit more beat up. You can see the deeper grooves and cuts and a lot of dirt in between the cracks. Trying to make it look a little scarier, but the movie fails in some ways.
And you know what, guys? I did actually buy a Michael Myers mask to wear during the filming of the episode. And the thing is, I tried it before filming and it was just too hot. I couldn't do it. Yeah. It was like stuck to my face, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna sit around for an hour with a piece of plastic on my face.
Yeah. I can't imagine you wearing that because I'm having a hard time with this thing.
Yeah, so I just threw on some makeup and
but it looks good though, doesn't it?
Did you dye your hair?
I haven't cut it since COVID started.
Yeah, but you know what, Carlos? I remember talking about the Halloween films and the whole thing of during that time where in the films you see a lot of kids trick or treating and stuff. Michael Myers never really attacked the kids, right? I remember that because I remember kids trick or treating, running around, and he'll be standing behind some bush and
right.
But that go ahead.
Yeah, the first encounter he has with the child is at the school. There's a couple of bullies and they're picking on this one young kid that one of the girls babysits, and he has a pumpkin, and the kids start bullying him and they're this and that, and they make him trip and he falls on his pumpkin and breaks it. So he goes one way, and then one of the kids runs like, we did it. One of the bullies runs out and boom, just like goes into Michael Myers and runs right into him. Michael Myers just like looks at him, and the kid looks at him, and the kid just runs away. So he doesn't attack that kid because the way he is, he has a set goals. I guess he wants to harm those people that he eventually saw first or that are around that house.
Oh, I see. Yeah. But anyways, Carlos, you said you had a story, a Halloween story.
A Halloween story? No, just some more some more stories of me trick or treating and going out and making costumes. Actually, I'm gonna share one cool costume that I didn't mention before, which is one year I was, when I was smaller, I was really fascinated with Sesame Street and Big Bird, and I always learned the dynamics of how things are made and how they used to make puppets and so forth. And I was, how did they do Big Bird? And of course, everyone knows nowadays as adults, one of the arms is fake, and the other arm goes up and it controls the mouth. Well, that's how they did it back then. Mm-hmm. So I got this idea. This was probably the late 90s or 2000s, where I put this large coat over my head, but it had a black see-through silky area. And what I did is I bought a fake arm and I put it on the side, and I put more material on it to make it look like it's real. And what I did is I looked through the hunch of this character. I made a hunchback, so I'm looking through the hunch while I'm controlling its face with my hand. So its neck would kind of go forward and back and look like this and drop down to the floor and come back up. And on the inside was a newspaper with a granny mask with these fake eyeballs that I bought separately. So every time I would go up to the door and everyone would say trick or treat, I would always move and do these weird kind of like 80s kind of caricature moves. And people would just freak out or laugh or they just start clapping.
Carlos Henson.
Yeah, right. So I thought I'd mention that costume. And
That's cool.
If I can find the picture, I'll share it with you guys.
I remember one year you were a Ghostbuster too.
Yes, one year I was a Ghostbuster. Me and my buddy Edgar, we spent many hours, many weekends in his garage, and we were just gathering parts, ordering things online. We got jumpsuits from Wilmington, and we put Ghostbuster patches on it, and we had our friend Beatrice put our names on it. And besides that, we were working on our proton packs. We had a lot of VW parts and Home Depot parts from the warehouse store from Home Depot. We put it all together, and we made these cool but yet heavy backpacks. And we decided to go out.
Proton packs.
Yeah, the proton packs. Yes, thank you. So we took our proton packs and we walked through I think the night was in Long Beach on 3rd Street. This is club upstairs. I think it's called like the Congo Room or Cohibas, I believe. And upstairs, we gathered up there and had a couple of drinks, mixed drinks, met new people. There was a couple just as the Matrix, Trinity and Neo. A couple of other people dressed up as Egyptians and pharaohs and all that.
That Matrix keeps coming up.
Yeah, the Matrix is cool. Like they're the ones that told us about Comic-Con and they told us about our cool costumes. So all of us got together and we decided to join the contest there. It was a small group of people in costumes. Of course, we lost and we didn't get very far. The Matrix, they got pretty far. It was one of those highly clapped. Whoever the highest wins, pretty much. But unfortunately, we lost that night, and we lost two. There was a guy in a sarape with a large Mexican hat holding a bag of orange water balloons. And he would just walk around like this, like he was selling oranges. So that guy won some money and a gift card or whatever it was. Yeah. So we're like, okay, whatever, we're out. We're kind of saddened that we lost to this stereotype.
Well, hey, at least he wasn't like he didn't have a fake cactus behind him. Take a nap.
Could have been worse, right? So we're like, okay, whatever. The whole thing is to have fun. So let's go to this other club somewhere in LA. And I don't know what it was at the time, but when we got there, I found out that it was Power 106 FM's Big Boy presents some sort of Halloween bash or whatever it is. And it's a large theater, like a large club. And I was like, whoa, so many people here. At this time, I was thinking, well, we're gonna win, but there's so much competition here. I'm talking about like floor on floor, just people dancing, and the bar areas are huge. And to get to the stage, you had to wait in line for a while. So this like, hey, let's go up there and have a good time and see how far we get on this contest, because they had a contest there too. So we had a battle. Mario and Luigi. I think there was another pharaoh up there. We battled Cheech and Chong, and they got a lot of claps. So it was our turn to go up there too. And this is around 2000, the same year, around 2002, 2003. Ghostbusters weren't that popular then, so we went up there and we got a couple of claps when people were in the back. You get just like that those shows where you hear people in the back, yeah, it's only like one person. But anyways, we had our support group, but eventually we lost. And what did we lose to this time? We lost to two people. They were doing the same theme, which was a girl that looked like the Indian Maria, or this culturally Mexican cultural, like Indian women with the long hair sticking out, and the funny stockings and dress. And she had a piñata stick, and she would dance, like go all crazy and start dancing and swinging this thing around. Yeah, and she would hit this piñata, but it wasn't a real piñata. It was a guy dressed up as a piñata, and he had candy like this, and every time the girl would hit him, he'd be like this. He'd come up and he'd throw the candy out. He'd like, ah! So she did it like 3 times, and everybody was cheering at her because they were receiving candy down below. So yeah, we lost to another stereotype.
Hey, did you learn from it though?
Yeah.
You should be that stereotype the next
That's
time.
what I'm thinking. Start working on that one.
Just dress up as a mariachi or something.
Mariachi because the wrestling dude has El Santo's already been done to death.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, be like a zombie mariachi. Oh wait, they already have that. It's Coco.
It's Coco. Which is, surprisingly one movie that I haven't seen yet.
Oh, Coco?
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about it, but
you gotta watch it. It's so good.
It's like one of the best ones, especially how it represents the Day of the Dead. Also, and unfortunately,
so
maybe you can tell me about it.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. But anyways, what else do you have, Carlos?
Yeah, fun facts for Halloween. Let's see, trick-or-treating has existed since the medieval times. Back then it was known as guising in Scotland and Ireland. Let's see, young people dressed up in costumes and asked for food or money in exchange for songs, poems, or other tricks. So that's where they get that the trick-or-treat, right? Pretty neat. This is the funny one. Some Halloween rituals used to involve finding a husband. I think that was pretty funny.
That's right.
Girls used to throw apple peels over their shoulders, and with so many apple peels on the floor, they would just turn around and they would look at it to see if they can find the name of their future lover or love interest. It might spell Bob or Michael Myers. Who knows?
Michael Myers. Carlitos.
Chucky. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, Disney almost made Hocus Pocus a completely different movie. Supposedly the character that's called Max Dennison, the boy in the movie, that was actually supposed to be Leonardo DiCaprio, but he wasn't available at the time. He was doing another movie called What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Yeah. And you know what? Now that you mentioned that, I wonder if having Leo in the film would have made it even bigger than it already is, because it's such a big film already.
Right.
But not having Leo, because I know so many girls and women are into the whole Leonardo DiCaprio thing. So imagine if Leonardo would have been in it. They would have already made a trilogy out of that movie. Because I know they're making a sequel.
Yeah.
Confirmed by Disney Plus.
That's good. And it's a fun movie, and I can't wait for the sequel.
Yeah, it's a great film. It's that movie that we watch. I watch it with the family every year, and we watch it like 2 or 3 times. During Halloween. It's that good. And
I wouldn't doubt it. Disney Plus is making some comebacks. They're making a Willow series too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, they're gonna bring everything back. Yeah. That's cool. Oh, Carlos, did you hear? I mean, this has nothing to do with Halloween and stuff, but did you hear what's happening with Disney? They actually want to start doing a thing where they're gonna have movies just stream, no more theaters. Did you hear about that?
I mean, it's kind of like the way things are going now, if you look at it.
Yeah.
I do enjoy the theater experience. You get the good sound and the great screen, and the technology is always evolving. But when it comes to things like COVID and cutting costs, and people want everything instant nowadays, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah. And the thing is, I grew up going to the theater. I love going to the theater. But just to have that happen, permanently, become no more theaters. It could be the end of theaters. And the thing is, with everything with the COVID, all these theaters are losing so much money and they're closing down. So I see this happening almost like with video stores. Right. How video stores went away, record stores.
Right. The fall of the CD compact disc. There's no more disc. People used to enjoy going to Tuesdays to Best Buy to go get that new release of that new band. Now it just comes out on iTunes or Spotify, and you have it there to stream. You don't have to buy a physical copy anymore.
And the gaming systems are doing the same thing.
Yeah, I remember maybe 10 years ago when the 4 or 3 came out, they were like, oh, we're not gonna put a drive in there anymore. All the games you're gonna be able to buy. And back then, people were mad because they want the
people
hard
were
copy.
still into physical media.
But now it seems with the PS5, people are gonna buy the one without the disc player. They want the actual streaming capabilities.
Yeah, and they are making a one with a disc player, and it's not even for the games anymore. That's just for the 4K movies.
Just for the 4K movies.
So, and that's I think that's the next thing that's gonna go. I don't think they're gonna make films, disc anymore for movies either. So
it's gonna be a tough time.
It's crazy.
For
it's crazy that we're getting to see all these changes. We got to see the VCR come in and VCR go out, the DVD players, the video stores, the music stores. I remember going to the warehouse.
Oh, the warehouse, yeah.
And not Blockbuster Video, the Tower Records.
Yeah, Tower
I
Records.
love Tower Records.
Amoeba Records is still around, aren't they? Or are they kind of odd and out?
I think they closed it already.
Closed it already, finally.
Mm-hmm. They're closing everything.
Yeah. there is a record store though, or there was on 6th Street, right? Or is that already gone now? It's
still there, but I think it's kind of like.
Yeah, because of the way things are right now.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad times, It's sad times with it seems like all these businesses that were kind of dying businesses. COVID came in and just gave it that last push, kicked it over the edge. But oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know what, guys? I also wanted to say something real quick. I actually talked to someone else that was telling me about going to do an EVP, EVP session. For those that don't know what an EVP session is where you go and you take electronic devices, either a recorder or your phone, and you go to places that are haunted or where someone passed away, and you ask questions and try to communicate, with these spirits. So this person knows that I do that. That they know I have the YouTube channel, and they know that I do EVPs. So they were telling me that the park on there's a park on, I believe it's Alma. Have you seen it? Mm-hmm. On Alma and I believe like a 22nd. It's a park that's divided in 2 parts. Mm-hmm. And I remember going to this park when we were in high school, we ditch school and go to the park right there. But this person told me that something happened back in the day that I never heard of. Maybe some of you have heard of this. They burned a little girl there.
Well, that's scary.
That the parents actually murdered her. And then they burned her, and next to these, they have these little restrooms in that park, and supposedly it's right there. So they told me, you know what, you should check it out because supposedly there's people that have seen the little girl there. So now, I think that's gonna be one of the next places we're gonna go and do some EVPs, do a little quick investigation.
Be good, yeah.
I do want to mention something real quick before we go on to the next thing. Yeah. I'm gonna put the website right here. First of all, I want to thank Damien Franco for being a guest on the last episode. Yeah. Talking about our movie and stuff. So she actually gave me the information now, the website where you could purchase the movie, because we did give 5 copies away and those are already gone.
Oh wow.
So website will be right here. Nice. Where you could order the film, and it's real cheap. Blu-ray, I think it was like $11, and the DVDs are only $8. Get Blu-ray though. Lasts longer.
Yeah, better quality.
Yeah, but Carlos, do your parents still decorate and stuff, or
no?
That's it. It's over. You?
You know what? This is the first time I dressed up for Halloween in
a long time.
In a very, very long time, and I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Yeah. It's cool. I like it. Yeah. I got my good guys little overalls here, and I got my wig and my scarves and my knife, and I'm happy.
That's cool. We're gonna have a Halloween party here. Yeah. Well, was there anything else you want to talk about, Carlos, or?
I think that's it for now.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah,
we're
pretty
done.
much.
I think it's good enough time. I know people are gonna be, when this release is gonna be Halloween day, so I know people are gonna be busy. So we won't take so much of your time on this episode.
Yes. Everyone's gotta get ready, getting dressed up and getting their stuff.
Are they gonna say to drink?
That too.
Oh,
drink while you dress up.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, like, share, subscribe, Instagram right here, and leave a comment. If you like the videos, or if there's a story you want to share. You know what? We've been getting a lot of comments of people sharing their stories,
awesome.
Which is really cool. So thank you for that, guys, and shout out again to Anthony for sharing that story with me, and also to Damien Franco for being a guest on the last episode. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.